Hi, I'm Dan Cox, and this is your MMA update. Lamas Mendes, it's coming up this weekend, buddy. What do you think? As always, my partner, Bomb. Bomb, man, give me your thoughts on that fight.
First of all, before we even touch on the fight, great card, free card, unbelievable card for a free one. Every fight on the card's great. Lamas Mendes, you know me, I'm going with my guy Lamas. Better stand up, more power. He's just the all-around tougher guy. I think he's going to take it to Mendes. Mendes got those wide, looping, powerful right hands. I think Lamas is going to expose that. Watch out for the kicks in this one.
Yeah, you know what? I think Lamas is going to take it too. I think the wrestling is going to cancel each other out. You know, you've got two really good wrestlers. You got two guys that have big power. I think Lamas is a stronger man. I think he's got more power. Even though Mendes, you know, the Dwayne Ludwig and teaching him, he started knocking everybody out with that big, wide right. I think Lamas is a superior striker, as you just said. And I think his kicks are going to play a role in this if it gets out of the first round. Honestly, I think that I'm looking at this fight as a first round, maybe a brutal knockout. I think Lamas is gonna win it by knockout. But I will say this, Mendes has the power. If he does connect with one of those big looping shots, he could put lights out on Lamas as well. But, you know, I guess it comes down to, you know, you look at those two guys, they both fought Aldo, and they had mixed results. Looking at it that way, you know, what do you see from those fights that you could really, you know, pick up on that would give you an idea who's going to win this fight between those two?
Well, Lamas definitely took more punishment from Aldo. He was the tougher guy. He took the punishment over those 5 rounds. He stood up to it, went the distance. On the other hand, Mendes, their first fight, he got knocked out with the knee. The second fight with Aldo, I think Aldo kind of maybe, I don't want to say took him lightly, but I think Aldo might have believed Mendes wasn't really going to be a threat to him. And that was the result in that going 5 rounds. Just for the simple fact that he took him a little lighter than he did in that first fight. Now, I understand Mendes' striking has come a long way, but like you and I have talked about prior to this, it's more of those winging, you know, roundhouse power punches that you can see coming. And Lamas is either gonna get hit by them or he's going to expose them. And I think he's going to expose them. I think he's going to be able to see those coming, maybe counter them quick, or maybe when Mendes is off balance with one of those wide punches, that's where you're going to see the leg kicks or a head kick come into play. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be a win by knockout for Lamas, but I think it's going to come in the second round. I think that first round is going to be that feeling out process because they both respect each other's power so much.
Oh, that's a fact. And you know what, Lamas, with those wide shots coming in from Mendes, you know, Lamas has that ability to step inside and throw straight shots down the pipe. And that's all it takes when you got a guy coming forward and, like you said, coming off balance with the big power because he's putting everything into it. Unlike Johnny Hendricks, who throws that big left and gets off balance but turns it into a takedown, you know, Chad isn't doing that. I don't think that the wrestling of either guy is going to come into play other than forcing them to stand up. I think Lamas has more ways to win. I think it's going to be a KO as well. I'm picking, you know, Lamas in this fight, but like I said, it could easily turn around the other way. This is you know, these guys are both elite athletes in the division. I think it's great that we're seeing the best fight the best. And, you know, that's just, it's what it is for the fans. That's why I love the sport. I love to see this. You know, there's not a lot of fanfare going on about this fight because of the McGregor-Aldo, which is taking over everything, right? But now let's look at it this way. Does the winner of this fight, Mendes, Lamas, get a shot at the winner of Aldo-McGregor?
No, I don't think they do. I think the next shot at that title has to go to Frankie Edgar. After his loss to Aldo, he's fought the next couple of guys, he's beat them, he's worked his way back up in my opinion, because he handily beat them. He didn't just beat them, you know, on a unanimous decision, close decision. He dominated his wins. Mendes is coming off of 2 losses versus Aldo. Lamas is coming off a loss. No, he's not coming off his loss versus Aldo in this fight, but he's lost to Aldo. I just think that as long as Aldo gets past McGregor, because everybody's kind of, you know, talking about, will McGregor be able to really dominate against a guy like Aldo, who's that caliber that McGregor's never been in there with.
Right.
And I personally think he can. I mean, I think Aldo is definitely a tough guy. I mean, come on, he's the champ. I think McGregor is that guy that just breaks you before he even gets into the fight, and he's trying to do that with Aldo. I don't know if it's necessarily going to work, but if it does, then it's going to be McGregor's fight, and then we're going to be talking Edgar versus McGregor instead of Edgar versus Aldo too.
Right, and listen, we both know that McGregor, he has the skills. That's not a question. The mental game, I think, is huge. The giant press tour they're doing, I think it very well could get in Aldo's head because he's constantly being hit with it. But I'll tell you what, Frankie Edgar for me is the guy that it took Aldo to the limit. That was the closest fight. I thought it was really close, actually. I love Frankie Edgar, man. I think he is the top guy in that division along with Aldo. I think Lamas takes it. I would love to see Lamas Edgar. Listen, we know Frankie deserves that shot, man. I just like to see these guys, the best fight the best, and that way, because they've all fought Aldo. Everyone says, well, we don't want to see a third fight. We don't want this. Listen, if that's the best guy, then he deserves that shot, regardless. So I say we put them together. The winner of Lamas Mendes fights Edgar, and the winner of that fights, right, gets the winner of McGregor Aldo, who I think is going to be Aldo. But we've got some great fights on this card. We also have one of your favorite guys, right? Iaquinta versus Masvidal.
I picked against this guy in the last 4 fights. In the last 4 fights, he's made me crow. I'm not picking against him in this fight against Masvidal. I think Iaquinta's stand-up is far superior. Masvidal's got that nasty ground game, but Iaquinta's in that camp with Longo, Serra, Weidman. He has to be working on his ground game there with those guys.
Right.
His stand-up doesn't need any work. His ground game does. Like you said before to me, you know, he's always had those problems where he got taken down, he's gotten choked out a couple times. If he hasn't worked on that, he definitely needs to find a new camp and maybe get that working. I think he's in a great camp right now. Longo's got that great stand-up that he can teach you. Serra's got that great ground game. You know, he's unbelievable on the ground. Plus, Weidman's great on the ground. So for you to be in that camp and to not be good on the ground, at least good on the ground, then there's something wrong.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But you know what, though? Iaquinta has really matured over the last few fights. And we had spoke again about this, and it was just the fact of Iaquinta coming out guns blazing and kind of getting caught. The last few fights, he's really been patient. You can see that he's matured. He's got big power in the hands. And that usually concerns me when a guy's getting those knockouts because they really start counting on it. But I'll tell you what, I agree 100%. He's in a camp that it's impossible not to get better. I personally think that's why we see this maturing in his fighting game. But I see Masvidal taking this fight. I think he's got more ways to win. I've got to go against Iaquinta on this one. I hope I don't get the juju from you, and I want to see this pick go through. But I think it's going to be a dynamite fight, man. It's just one of those things that you really, when you got the top guys fighting, it's really hard to put your money on one or the other because one shot could change the night. And we both know Iaquinta's got that heavy power in those hands. He's riding a win streak. He's got the momentum. Extremely confident.
They both are.
Yeah.
They're both riding a win streak. They both won their last 4 fights.
Yep.
So this is going to be a dynamite matchup of guys that are coming off of these 4-fight win streaks. Who wants it more? Iaquinta, if he wins this fight, does that put him maybe to start talking about contention? Does it? I don't know.
You know what? It's tough to break in. I mean, you're looking at a stacked division, right? When you start getting in the top 10, you're fighting killers. There's no doubt about it. I think Iaquinta is not there yet, and that's based on his ground game. But listen, we haven't seen him on the ground in the last few fights. So I mean, he very well could have taken care of all those issues he had before, and it could come down to the maturing, that we were speaking of there. Because to approach the fight game the way he was before, he was just going at it crazy. He got caught and he would get on the ground. The guy's tough as hell. He never did tap. He would just go out every time, which speaks a lot, about his character. So, you know what, I think we're going to find out. I think this is going to be a really big fight for both of these guys. Just as you said, the win streaks are there. Someone is going to lose that win streak, is going to stop. I think it's going to be Iaquinta that's going to lose it. But hey, we will definitely find out. It's going to be a tough fight, man. Anyone else on that card that really kind of catches your buzz? There's a lot of great fights on it.
There's some good fights on that card. I mean, we got, Liz Carmouche is back. Clay Yeet is back. Gray Maynard is back.
Yeah. Well, there's one.
Discussed. Yeah, it is.
Listen, my opinion with Gray, and I love Gray. I think, Gray is an incredible talent. Fighting at 155, he's just a beast, right? I mean, we were talking how much weight is this guy cutting, because he walks around 200, plus pounds. I mean, the guy is just huge for that division. But again, this is a man that's been hit on the chin. It's been exposed. Once that happens multiple times, in my opinion, you just don't come back from it. I think Gray's last couple fights have been pretty disappointing, and I really would like to see Gray maybe take a step back. It's tough to watch a guy like that, go down the way he has been. And then Liz Carmouche, right? Now Liz, and I believe it was, could be a third loss in a row, right? And the UFC, as you were saying, they 3 and out, and you're kind of out. But this division, they need the talent in there. I don't think they'd get rid of her if Liz loses. What do you think?
I don't know if they'd necessarily get rid of her. I think they might push her back a bit in her division,
right?
And maybe make her start over. Like you said, this could be her 3rd loss in a row if she loses. So where does she go from there? I mean, you can't go forward; you got to go back. So, in regards to her, I'm just thinking this is either put up or shut up for her.
Right.
She's either got to bring it, or she's going to go back to the drawing board. And whether that means the UFC terminates the contract and she ends up, fighting over an Invicta, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what could be next for her.
And listen, she's the only one that's actually put the champ Rousey in trouble.
Right.
She's the only one.
Right. But she lost, and she lost handily. She did. It wasn't, Rousey was never in the kind of trouble where she was going to lose.
Right.
So, I mean, that's as far as Liz Carmouche, she's one of my favorite women fighters in the division. Don't get me wrong. You know how I love Liz Carmouche. I think she's a beast. She's a strong girl. She's a former, military person. She's just a beast. But I just think she needs to, maybe she took this time off to kind of catch her breath. Maybe that's what happened. Now, as for Gray Maynard, like you were talking, Gray Maynard, in the way I feel about Gray, he cuts from that 200-pound mark down to 155. I think that could be a lot of his problems because he's peeling off all that weight. He looks malnourished at times. He's gray, he's pale, he just doesn't look healthy. Maybe the answer for Gray is the same answer for Benson Henderson. Go to 170. See how you fare there. And if that doesn't work for you, then you're right. Maybe it's time to become a coach, teach the young guys coming up some ins and outs, and take a step back and, call it a career. He's had a great career. Call it a career.
Yeah, and you know what? He has had a great career, and I like I said, I've enjoyed watching him compete. It's been, awesome for the fans, which that's what we are, fans. And speaking of fans, Bum, I got to reach out, man. We got to give some shout-outs. We've been getting some incredible support. through Team MMA. They're out there supporting, man. We've got so many people that are just really helping us out. You know, Bob, throw some shout outs out there, man. There's a lot of guys to touch. I don't even know where to start.
God, I mean, we got all of Team MMA for life. Those guys are great, guys and girls.
Yep.
They're always there. They're always talking with us. They're always getting involved with the conversations. You got to tip your hat to all those guys and girls. Irina is always involved with everything. Irina's awesome. She goes on fight nights and comments about the fights.
Oh yeah.
True Tommy Trandell 919. If you're on Twitter, that's who you want to chat with. At Trandell 919. Tommy's a U.S. Marine. He's a great guy. Tons of fight knowledge and a good conversation.
And you know what, Bob? I cannot leave out our partner, Trinidad, DJ to Bounce. The guy is a machine. He's out there doing so much for us. And man, I got to throw big props out to Trinidad. And listen, I love the feedback, you guys. It's awesome. On the YouTube channel, subscribe to the LUB YouTube channel. Let us know how you feel. Give us some opinions. Maybe tell us what topics you'd like to hear us touch on. And I really appreciate all the activity that we're getting on there. It's really great. And listen, on Twitter, do us a favor. Go to Combat Circle. Leave a comment there. If you like talking fights, that's all we do at Combat Circle. Talk fights. Man, Bob, thank you, my buddy.
Thank you.
This is great. Hey, for LUBMMA, for my partner Bob, I'm Dan Cox, and this is your MMA Update.